Welcome to Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Gerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you retire with purpose and live with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening to Kickin' with the Rickens podcast. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost and licensed insurance professional Gerry Ricken. My name is Mark Owens. We invite you to get more at rickenfinancial.com. You can get all the information here in the show notes. Thanks again for subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. How's your week been? How's your weekend going? How is life treating you right now?
For those of you in the St. Louis area who have wanted a reservation at Wright's Tavern forever, which if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's a little steakhouse / tavern in Clayton.
Okay.
And they have like 8 tables, maybe 10 tables. That's it. And the biggest table seats 4. My sister and I have wanted to try this forever. And literally 2 months ago at midnight on the last day of the month when they dropped the reservations 2 months out, we stayed awake and made a reservation. And a Monday night at 8 p.m. was the only time we could find, even at midnight when it dropped.
You can tell that my daughters are definitely foodies.
Oh, yeah. So we've been looking forward to this for months. Okay. And Barbie and I both had it on our calendar. We're ready to go. We get there on this Monday night.
Yeah.
First of all, we're walking in and I don't know what's wrong with my childhood memories, but like, I remember like some stuff, but other things, I have the memory of a flea. But we're walking in and I'm like, this place looks familiar, Barbie. And she looked at me and she's like, you don't remember what this is? Because I have a vivid memory of it. And I'm like, this is where I performed in those weird shows back in the day, right? Because she was like, you and I were very different as kids. I played sports after school and you wanted to be in the theater. So yeah, remember that?
Oh, I do.
Oh yeah. That. And she was like, I'll never forget it because your shows were painful.
Oh, God. Wow.
And that was a sister who was only 2 years older than you. How do you think your parents felt?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh yeah, this is the place where I used to perform. And now it's a tiny little restaurant with an open kitchen in the middle of it and everything. And they've utilized every inch of real estate. So we sit down and we're enjoying our drink and we chatted with the waitress and we put in our order. And after the appetizer comes, Barbie gets a notification on her phone that says, you're due in 30 minutes for your reservation at Wright's Tavern. And I was like, what on earth? And I went and I looked in our email. Oh, no. Our reservation was at 8:30, not 8. And we got there at like 7:45 for an 8 o'clock. Thankfully, the person who had the table before us finished their dinner early, but literally they have like 3 seatings a night and somehow they made it work. But I'm sitting there and I looked at her and I was like, wow, I really am no different from a lot of the prospects and clients who come to see us show up early all the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't mean to have us 45 minutes early for dinner, but in the end, it was delicious. And spoiler alert for those of you who would like to try it one day, in the Resi app, you can put your name on a wait list. And when they have a reservation cancel, they'll send you a notification and you can go get that reservation.
So let me ask you this, Heidi, was it worth it? Waiting up late at night, getting there early. Apparently this is lore. This is people love doing this. Very popular restaurant. At the end of the day, when you walked away, was it worth it?
The food and everything?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Being able to, my sister and I don't get time, the two of us, very often. So that was worth every minute of it. Yeah. And the story and her face when she realized that this whole time I told us it was in my mind, it was at 8 o'clock and we both should have looked at our email to see that it was at 8:30. Yes, that was worth it. But yeah, the food was good, but there's good food a lot of places in St. Louis. We're very lucky.
Yeah. Well, the experience, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's the mystery around it. We only open up our reservations once a month after midnight on the last day.
Yeah.
So that's the intrigue. The intrigue was probably it probably built your expectations more than.
It did.
I want to go back to something you said there about just being able to spend time with your sister. Me and my oldest brother Matt were at a wedding, and we were literally at a Holiday Inn in the middle of West Georgia. Me and him sat in the lobby, the little restaurant area that was, only where they do the breakfast buffet. Just me and him sat there on a Saturday night and watched the Georgia Bulldogs football game. And we polished off a bottle of wine. And it was just the most laid back, nothing doing in a hotel lobby in Bremen, Georgia, but to have that experience and that moment with my big brother, drinking wine, laughing, watching college football, it will go down as one of the most fun experiences and moments I've had just to have that moment with my big brother.
Isn't it amazing? Because, there are so many things we have in this world, but time is so fleeting.
Yeah.
And being given the gift of time is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad and I have been working really hard lately, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it felt really nice to enjoy the fruits of our labor by being able to have on a weeknight the time to be with my sister.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I look forward to continuing to do because it fed my soul and it re-energized me in the beginning of a week, woke up at the crack of dawn to get my workout in and then finished my day with my sister. It was a great way to start a week.
At an early reservation.
Little did they know.
But I think there's something about that too, about what you do for the families you serve, about giving the opportunities of time. Because I think we're going to have a good discussion this weekend about building income in retirement so that you have the income so that you can spend more time with your family. So you're not working until you're 75, 80, 85. You can retire on your terms to have the time to spend with the family, with the kids, with the grandkids.
We always talk about the go-go years, and the go-go years are the first part of your retirement where you're energized and you want to go do things and you experience life and you do things with your spouse or individually or with friends or whatever it is. Those things feed your soul, that things that you've delayed and haven't been able to do when you were raising your kids or when you were working full time. But you don't really have to wait until retirement. I was meeting with a couple this week, and there's an age discrepancy of about 6 years between the two of them. He's already retired, and she has about 6 years to retire. And she said, I have 6 weeks of PTO. So what we do is we're going to do, since he's retired and he has the time now, I have 6 weeks of PTO. We're going to start traveling now.
And you know what's beautiful about the company she works for? They're a European company that, she works in the US for. They encourage her to use her PTO.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we all need to learn from the European countries because we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know how long we're supposed to be around on this earth. Take that time with your family and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be retired to enjoy time together.
But in order to enjoy time together, you have to have an income plan. And the income plan is really what is going to happen. Well, for this couple, he just retired. So what's his income going to be? He's blessed with a pension. But what's her income going to be when she retires? And what's their joint income going to be? And that's what all about is just talking about how to develop an income plan so that you can feed your soul and you can experience life.
At the end of the day, that's the goal.
Yeah.
You have worked so hard to save money in your working years. And then all of a sudden you got to flip a switch, and in retirement, you get to enjoy it. And that money needs to be working for you. You are no longer working for your money. Your money is working for you. And you get to enjoy the time with the people you love, doing the things you love that feed your soul with a stream of income coming in because your paycheck went away. You don't have some company paying you every 2 weeks or once a month or once a week or, whatever it may be. You have to figure out how you're going to get paid. But that was the goal this whole time, is to sit back, relax, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. And I don't want to discount how hard it is to flip that switch because we are so ingrained and we're creatures of habit that when you have been in the accumulation phase of your working years and in your retirement and in that phase of your financial life where you're accumulating the assets for the future, and the only thing you think of when it comes to money is setting aside for the future, save, have those savings accumulate and work for you. All of a sudden you wake up one day and you're supposed to just use that money. It's terrifying. So we love to help come up with an income plan because you have worked so hard to save that money. There are so many different streams of income you can turn on in retirement. The timing of what we're going to touch first is going to matter. And every person we meet with is going to have a different answer for what their stream of income needs to look like, should look like, where they should be pulling money from, the withdrawal order, what tax bucket do we touch first? So when it comes to retirement, the first decision you need to make is what day do you want to retire and spend the rest of your life doing what's going to feed your soul? because the plan will dictate whether the money is going to be there or not for the date that you want to retire. But the first decision is, what am I going to do with my time and when do I want to retire? And once you have that date in mind, then we have to build out an income plan around it. And a lot of people in the back of their head think that Social Security is the first stream of income we need to turn on because we spent all these years working for our Social Security for the future. So as soon as we retire, we're going to turn on that benefit. Well, the day you retire and the day you draw your benefit don't have to go hand in hand. So what can some other streams of income look like while you're waiting on Social Security? Well, the first is going to be, do you have a pension plan out there? And if you do, is that pension plan financially solvent? Because before you can make any decisions on whether you take a lump sum or a pension amount on your life or with survivorship for your spouse, to make an informed decision, the first step is ensuring that the finances are going to be there to pay you. So say you have paid into a pension plan your entire working career and the finances really aren't there. It's only 55% funded in the background. It may be a wise idea to take a lump sum versus turning on your income.
You always want to look at the risks that you are facing out there. And that is one of the risks that people face when they have a pension. How funded is it? You know, a lot of municipalities are underfunded in their pension plans. So the taxpayers have to, buck up more.
And it's not just municipalities. You got to make sure that your plan administrator has done their due diligence and their fiduciary duty to make sure that what it's invested in is solvent too, as well, because we've seen, some union pensions too, that unfortunately, once you retire, you don't get the full benefit anymore.
Yeah. And that's been a very, very sad realization because full benefits started. And then all of a sudden, 2 years into one of our clients, all of a sudden his pension went to 55% of what he expected to make. And that was a hard reality in retirement because all of a sudden we had to come up with other income to supplement that income that he had paid in that pension plan his entire working career and expected to get the full pension, but it just didn't work out. So we don't want anybody to be in that situation. So what we want to do is take a deep dive into the finances of the pension plan and make sure that it will be able to meet its obligations for you because you paid into it your entire work.
And we'd love to help you take a look at the solvency and ensure that, your pension plan is funded so that you can make that informed decision. So if you want some help taking a look at that financial solvency, give us a buzz at 314-207-6211 so that we can help you kind of guide you through the education it takes to and make the informed decision on how you should be taking your pension benefit. So then the time comes, say you should be taking a lump sum out of the pension and turning it into something else. That's one decision. Or you turn on a stream of income from your pension in your retirement. You're going to have a lot of different choices when it comes to that. It can be a little bit of a quagmire. You look at it, it's either based upon your life with a couple of years certain of payments, or survivorship to your spouse. That's a decision you need to make as a family unit because at the end of the day, if you pass away and you've paid into this pension plan for years, you want to ensure that your family gets the most benefit out of the pension plan in the end.
And that's a very good point because we look at everything as a family perspective. What's best for the family from a cash flow perspective, from a taxation perspective? And some people just look at it from one person's point of view, but we need to make sure that everyone's on the same page and we do what's best for the family and what's in the best interest of the family. And what we're really talking about, we've talked about accumulation all those years, and that's what we've all been accustomed to. And now we have to really change our mindset. When we're talking about these income plans, these are your decumulation years. How do you make that pile of money last and turn into income for the rest of your life? So that as long as you have blood pressure, you have income. That's our overall objective. We want to make sure that you're comfortable with it and that you keep up with inflation as well.
And you have to change your mindset when you turn into decumulation from accumulation. So you've spent all these years accumulating the funds for the future, but then when you retire and you have to live on those funds, decumulation does not mean, by the way, you need to spend all your principal down and decumulate your assets until you're left with zero. It just means rechanging the way that your mind is working and utilizing your funds that they work for you and they pay out a stream of income to you in your retirement, so you're going to be okay. There are ways that you can structure your retirement funds so that you don't touch your principal, because some people are concerned and they say, well, I want to leave something aside for the future, or I want to make sure I have my nest egg around here forever. So Know that decumulation doesn't mean going down to zero. It just means using the assets you've saved for your future for today, because the future is today when you're retired. So you got to make sure that money works for you now because you worked so hard for it. So, you're going to start with that pension plan. And then beyond that, you need to build out each stream of income as it hits you in retirement.
And one of the things when we build out that income, we are very cognizant of the taxation of that income, because one of our overall objectives at Ricken Financial is to get you tax-free in retirement. Eventually, and some people we're more successful with some versus others, because if you have a large pension, sometimes we can't get you completely tax-free in retirement, but we can strive to lower your taxes in retirement. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about how we structure things tax-wise, please call us at 314-207-6211. We'll just sit down and show you what our tax plan looks like in conjunction with our income plan.
Which leads into, there are a couple different types of taxes when it comes to your 1040 that you're filing each tax season: ordinary income and capital gains. So something like your pension plan, you pay your ordinary income tax rates on that. By the way, there's some pensions are free of different types of taxation too. So every person we meet with will have a different answer for how their pension is taxed. But then there's also capital gains rates that you can, or maybe can structure things that you don't have to pay in retirement. Capital gains rates are usually less, if they're long-term, they're usually less than your ordinary income tax rate. So there are ways to structure forms of income coming into you from capital gains as well. So say you have some appreciation in a stock. You want to sell that stock. That might be a stream of income coming into you in retirement as well, because if you just let it grow forever and, you never touch it, it can go on to your beneficiaries in the future. But if it's something you need for income in your working years, there are ways to structure that so a piece of it could come out each year and be a little bit more tax advantaged for you and your family. Mm-hmm. But that could be another stream of income coming into you too, are gains from some stocks that you've held for the future, or you're ready to right size your home. Not necessarily downsize, but right size. And, some people will say, I am so sick of taking care of the lawn and the this and the that. And so maybe you want to move into, a condo situation where the onus is on someone else to help kind of care for you there when it comes to doing the yard work and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. If you sell your home and you have a capital gain, you may or may not have to pay tax on that. And that could be money that you then turn into a stream of income as well.
And there are other types of streams of income out there as well. We talk a lot about 401ks and Roths and IRAs and all those retirement plans that we built through the years. So what we do is we say, okay, what's the most tax efficient way to draw down those? Because we may want to spend down the IRAs, the 401ks first, and let the Roth save those for later, because the taxation of those is completely different, and not only for you, but for your beneficiaries as well. When we look at each individual income plan, it truly is a fingerprint for each one of you out there, because your structure and how you've earned your income and how you built your nest egg over the years has different tax implications in it. And it can also earn at different rates and take different risks. So all of those situations, we need to factor all those elements into the income plan to design the income plan that makes the most efficient use of your assets to generate income. It's not about assets, it's all about income.
Mark says it best. Income's the outcome that we're looking for in our retirement, right? Because, when your paycheck goes away, you need to ensure that you do have income coming in to cover your expenses.
Sometimes when, women become caregivers for their children or for their parents,
or both.
We've seen that sandwich generation happen to both, some people both on both sides. They do have a break in their income earning years. And that plays into Social Security, because Social Security is available to all of us who have paid in for 40 credits, and you can earn 4 credits a year. Over a 10-year period, you earn your 40 credits. The benefit that you receive, your money back, if you will, and hopefully more than your money back in the end of the day, is based on your highest 35 earning years. So if you did have breaks in your Social Security earning years, it will impact your Social Security benefit.
Because 0 is a number that counts in the average.
Yes, because it's the average of the last 35, or the highest 35 earning years indexed to inflation. And we have had individuals say, well, what if I didn't work 35 years?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as Heidi said, 0 is a number, and that counts into the average, and it lowers your average if there's a 0 in there. So a lot of people will say, well, why don't I just, earn a little bit more income in retirement doing a part-time gig and generate more Social Security benefits for myself? And that's certainly an option if it feeds your soul and if that's what you want to do.
And if it makes financial sense. And at the end of the day, if you need to know if something like that would make financial sense because you don't have 35 full years of working, we'd love to run the numbers for you so you can make an educated decision before you just willy-nilly decide to go back to work and punch a clock just to potentially increase your benefit. So if you want to take a look at that, give us a call at 314-207-6211 and we can run some analyses for you to see if something like that does make sense.
Because there are hundreds of different ways, if you're a married couple out there, to file for Social Security benefits. A lot of people say, oh, I can take it 62 or I can take it 67, my full retirement age, or I can wait till 70. There's an unlimited number. I mean, we can run analysis for you because each one is completely different. And it really depends upon what fits in best to your overall income picture and what is the most advantageous for your family.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Social Security works this way. You and or your spouse will turn on your benefits. And when one of the two of you passes away, the lower of the two benefits passes away with you. So there's some people don't understand that. But if you lose your spouse, the higher of the two benefits gets to stay with you, but the lower of the two goes away. So when we plan for Social Security for our clients, we always do so holistically at a family unit when we make these decisions, because if you look at just your lifetime, you might make a different decision for when you should draw your benefits than if you're looking at the family unit and both of your combined lifetimes and the break-even analysis and all of that. We run that, by the way, and put it in real world English for you so that you don't go cross-eyed looking at all the different functions that go into running all of these analyses, but you can make an informed decision. And if one of the two of you, if you're married, if one of the two of you made more money in all of your working years, you're going to have a higher benefit when it comes to Social Security in the future. So your decision of that higher benefit of what day we draw that is probably going to be different from the two of you that made less money in your working years, because we want to ensure that the survivor benefit that goes to your family in the future, no matter which one of you passes away, is as high as it possibly can be. So that's one of the first decisions we're going to make when it comes to Social Security is, where does this fit into the plan? And, we've said it once, we'll say it 100 times, and I want to make sure you hear this. The day that you retire doesn't have to be the day that you draw Social Security income. You can separate those two dates. And there are so many different opportunities for when you can draw Social Security that if you have other assets to live on, other streams of income coming in, you don't have to take Social Security the day you retire.
Mm-hmm.
You can be in full control of it and decide what works best for your family.
And it may not be the brightest decision to take it at your full retirement age or at 65 or 62 or whenever you retire. You may want to wait longer because of the way Social Security is built. Your benefit increases by a guaranteed 8% from age 66 to age 70, plus the cost of living adjustment. The cost of living adjustment for 2026 looks like it's going to be about 2.6%. So for those who have deferred from last year to next year, or this year to next year, their benefit's going to go up 10.6%. Where can you get a 10.6% guaranteed increase in any investment you have? Think about that. So that's why Heidi said, if you have other assets that aren't earning a guaranteed 10.6%, it may behoove you to wait until another year or two to draw those benefits.
Yeah.
And in the interim, what's our income going to look like? Well, we talked pensions earlier. We talked about some capital gains. Well, what else can we set up to pay income in retirement? You might have an income-based portfolio or a dividend portfolio that could be paying you in retirement. Now, dividends are not guaranteed. And one thing we learned when COVID hit was Even some solvent companies have a hard time paying dividends occasionally. So that's one stream of income we can turn on in retirement is an income-based portfolio in the stock world. It might be an exchange-traded funds or an individual stocks that pay dividends to you, but you can set that up so that that kind of passive income, the money that you've set aside for the future, is coming into you and paying you a quote unquote paycheck in your retirement. Just instead of reinvesting your dividends, you get to live on them.
Heidi, Ricken, Provost, you've given us a couple of good options about how do we continue those income streams. What's next?
We mentioned a pension earlier, and I like to call this a type of a personal pension plan. It's not an actual pension, by the way. But if you've saved money for your retirement and it's in an IRA or a 401k, and you want to turn that into a guaranteed stream of income that's going to pay you a paycheck, you can utilize annuities to do so. When you work for a company and you get paid a pension, you've put money in and they're going to give you a paycheck out of that pension plan. It's kind of similar to that. You can save that money in your 401k IRA, and then the insurance company that you utilize for this annuity would then turn that into a stream of income that's going to pay you for the rest of your life. You can have payouts that increase if you need long-term care. There's a lot of different kind of bells and whistles, and it's not one size fits all. There are thousands of different annuities you can utilize in your retirement years. But there's a way for you to be able, if you don't have enough income coming in from Social Security and pensions and everything else that we've mentioned, there's a way for you to turn what you've saved for your future into that paycheck that kind of clicks each month and will be able to pay you a stream of income in retirement. So that's one thing that we can add in our arsenal for our stream of income is those annuity payments that are kind of like your own personal pension plan. Then we can do some really fun and exciting things that help reduce taxation and/or are tax-free in retirement, paying you as well. So one of the goals a lot of our clients have is as they enter their retirement years and continue to enjoy them, they want to be as tax efficient as possible. Well, if you have some time before retirement, you can take advantage of something called an indexed universal life policy. Life insurance, when we think life insurance, we only think death benefit because so many of us are so ingrained in we spend the smallest premium for the highest death benefit of life insurance. This is flipping that on its head. So you've put the highest premiums into the lowest death benefit available on your life. And then when it comes to retirement, you're able to turn on a stream of income from this IUL, this indexed universal life policy, that is tax-free to you for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. So it's income that can come in without taxation. So typically we have to factor in taxes when it comes to income. So you have to take more income than is necessary because you have to factor in the taxes, and then the net amount is what gets paid to you. Every penny that comes to you is going to be free of taxes. And then the beautiful thing is when you're no longer here, if a legacy is important to you, it will have a death benefit in it that goes tax-free to your beneficiaries as well. Because at the end of the day, if financial legacy is incredibly important to you, why not leave a tax-free financial legacy too? So it's another stream that we can kind of turn on. And when we add all that up, it's probably the starting point for income for a lot of people, but it's not the end all be all. There are so many other streams of income I wish we could spend all day talking about.
But we don't have all day. So that's why we're talking about it right now. But Heidi just mentioned indexed universal life, and that investment vehicle. And people say, "Oh, life insurance is not an investment." You can use this as an investment, and the reason we suggest using it as an investment, if it fits, is because it is treated differently in the Internal Revenue Code than any other type of investment. Life insurance is treated differently, and life insurance will always be treated differently in the Internal Revenue Code, in my opinion, because most of the congressmen built their whole legacies on life insurance and the taxation thereof.
Life insurance is tax-free. When we think about the benefits coming out of life insurance, we always think tax-free.
Yep.
And their living benefits, which is so unusual when you think about death benefit of life insurance, thinking about spending down your death benefit if you need it for long-term care purposes. So there are all other elements of these universal life elements or policies other than just an income stream for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the beautiful thing, a lot of people are concerned about the Social Security solvency. If Social Security is not around, some of the things that these IULs can do nowadays too is add on additional tax-free income that comes to you if you don't get Social Security or your benefits are decreased because of the legislative changes that have happened and our inability to fund Social Security property.
Right.
At the end of the day, there are so many different facets of income, streams of income you can turn on in retirement. And every single person we meet with will have a different answer as to what the plan looks like for when we turn on income. It's not just a set it and forget it thing. It's not there is no rule book out there of you should do this, you should do this, you should do this, and everyone follows the same plan. Every single person's going to have a different answer for when we turn on what stream of income, how the taxation is going to look. And you need to create a plan for how to do so.
And also keeping up with inflation, because inflation is always going to be present out there.
Yeah.
At least I believe it will be. So additional streams of income as we age up and as we need even more money in our later years with respect to healthcare costs.
So when you add that all up together, you need a plan that takes care of your income, but also the outcome of that income, the taxation piece, and how much net income comes in and hits your bank in the form of your retirement paycheck. So we'd love to take you through the purpose approach and help you build the income streams that are necessary to cover your wants and your needs in retirement, because you've worked so hard. You shouldn't just be covering what you need to spend money on. You should be covering what you want to spend money on too in your retirement. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, we'd love to take you through the purpose approach. It's complimentary. We want to make sure we can come up with a plan that's going to better your financial future. So that's why we don't charge for our time. We want to ensure that what we're going to do is going to benefit you in the end. So if that's something you'd love to take advantage of, we would love to hear from you. We have a representative standing by that can answer the phone at 314-207-6211. Or anytime you want to chat with us, head over to rickenfinancial.com. That's RICKEN financial.com. Enter your info there. We'd be happy to reach out via email or phone, whatever you're most comfortable with, so we can get the conversation started.
Somebody gives a call this weekend, sets up that initial no cost, no obligation consultation. A little bit nervous, maybe worried about some of the mistakes that we've made in the past. What exactly is the question that you like to ask us on that initial consultation?
One of the things I like to ask is, do you know how much tax you're going to pay for the rest of your life? Because a lot of people are focused on what they paid last year. And oh my gosh, I paid so much in last year. I was surprised on April 15th when I had to cut that check. Or, oh my gosh, I got so much back. But what we focus on is, what are you going to be paying in the future? And how can we minimize that future taxation in looking at everything that you do, every way that you're not only just income taxes, but all kinds of taxes. There are all kinds of taxes out there. Some of them are hidden from us.
Yeah.
But we focus on that because what we want to do is see when you come in this door, when you leave, after a few appointments, we want to see if we can get you tax-free eventually in retirement.
This also leads into conversations because at the end of the day, if you don't know how much you're going to pay in tax in the coming year, let alone for the rest of your life, we definitely need to have a conversation now, because you have a couple months to plan for the rest of the year so that you don't have a surprise come tax time in April, because we never want that to be a negative surprise. So give us a call at 314-207-6211, and we'll see if we can help you get a better grasp on your taxation just starting with this year. If it seems like too much to think about the entire rest of your life, we need to at least have a good foundation here and make sure you're not going to have a nasty surprise from the IRS in April. So we'll start there, but then we're going to build on it together, because it could be as simple as you're in retirement right now and you have some income coming in from your investments. Well, are you pulling from the correct accounts right now? Are you saving in the form of taxation by using the most tax efficient strategy for how you're going to pull your income from those investments? Or do you need to tweak just which investment you're going to pull the income from for the rest of this year so that, you have the best strategy even just for this year?
Gerry, Heidi, as always, thank you for the information and the education this weekend. But before we get out of here, take us home.
Every day is a holiday.
Life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.